supplies. Zeinakodr has this report.
Isa was hit by shrapnel during the fighting in Sirte. He couldn't get medical treatment inside the besieged city. His sister Khadija is a nurse in Sirte hospital. She tells us the staff can't work because of the bombardment and there are barely any supplies. The lull in the fighting has given hundreds of families the opportunity to leave. Conditions inside are no longer bearable, they say. It has almost been 3 weeks since the assault against Gaddafi's hometown.
There is nothing in the shops. There is heavy bombardment. It is hard to get out because Gaddafi's men are stopping us.
There are a few routes out, but they are still dangerous. The lack of fuel made it even more difficult to flee. Thousands of fighters have fled Sirte over recent weeks. Those who did so at the beginning were opponents of Gaddafi. Now many of the families who are leaving are Gaddafi sympathizers. Even the fighters here acknowledge that. They search vehicles for weapons. According to some fighters and residents, many of those resisting inside Sirte are armed civilians. And there are those who blame NATO and anti-Gaddafi fighters for shelling their homes, and they don't shy away from their loyalty to Gaddafi.
I am from Sirte. I am loyal to Gaddafi. I'm not with the rebels and NATO. I was living in my house. The bombardment forced us to leave everything.
But anti-Gaddafi fighters dispute that. They say they haven't advanced into Sirte and the nearby town of Abu Hadi because they don't want to kill civilians. Commanders say Gaddafi's army is using their stronghold of Abu Hadi, which is 3 kilometers from here, to support Sirte. This junction isolates the 2 Gaddafi strongholds. These fighters now have to fight their way in and face what has been strong resistance from their enemy. Zeinakodr, Al Jazeera, Sirte.
And sources close to Al Jazeera have told us that Libya's new rulers, the National Transitional Council, are getting ready to appoint a new cabinet. For more on this, let's go live to our correspondent Hashem Al-Bara, who's standing by in the Libyan capital. Hashem, what are the details of this?
Well, it was a very long meeting between the leadership of the NTC and Mahmoud Jibril, the chairman of the executive committee. It started earlier in the day. And there were loads of debates about the makeup of the government, intention of Mahmoud Jibril to resign. He said, I'm determined to go. But then he was persuaded by the leadership of the NTC to change his mind and stay. But we know now that ministers of defense, health, interior and justice, what change we have now. A new minister of defense who is Salim Juha. This is a military commander from Masrata. The reason they picked this man is to show to the powerful independent military commanders, particularly the Islamists, that the NTC and the executive committee is willing to listen to their demands, and they think this is somebody who can rally the Islamists behind him and at the same time convince them to join the Ministry of Defense and tell all fighters to join security forces. However, Mahmoud Jibril remains as a Prime Minister. Ali Tarhouni, who was Minister of Finance, is now Deputy Prime Minister. This is quite significant because it comes amid a cause by the people, by different factions, that people have to get their acts together and put into place a very solid government that reflects the wishes of the Libyan people to move ahead, to put an end to the Gaddafi era and start with a unified stance. But it remains to be seen. It is starting to trickle in. We're getting more names in the minutes to come, and it remains to be seen how will the people, and particularly the Islamists, react to the lineup of this new cabinet.
Hashem Al-Bara with the latest for us on the changes to the Libyan National Transition